In this episode, you're going to want to stay to the end. You're going to hear the most gut-wrenching, clearest audio you've ever heard. Hi guys, welcome back to Bronx Tales with your host over here, Bronx CB, and me, I am Logan. Thank you for being here. When officers initially arrive to the scene, they ask about the furnace room door because it's shut and locked. And one of the girls says that they don't know the code and they don't have the key. Well, number one, it's illegal for a landlord to lock the furnace room door and not give the tenants a key or a code. It's illegal because it could be needed to be accessed in case of an emergency. Now, my question is, if officers were clearing a home and they didn't have a code or a key to a door that's shut and locked, you bet you're behind they're going to kick it in. And this door was not kicked in, and we have to ask ourselves why. Did somebody suddenly come up with a key or a code quickly? Because officers are not going to stand around and wait for that. They're going to breach this door, and it was not breached. So I've got some calls into Moscow Police Department because I have some questions. Now, I know you guys remember the whole story of Kaylee was dancing with Murphy to music on the second floor, and then she said she was going to bed and went up the stairs. That never happened. And I'm going to explain to you why. But first, I think True Crime Design is onto something in regards to the Adderall intake by Ethan and Xana. Xana seemed to be at fairly low therapeutic levels, and Ethan seemed to be incredibly high, as if he was preparing for a fight night or for high stamina to be able to withstand something that was going to happen that night. So Ethan sleeping is absolutely not true.
Ethan was drunk, but not wasted. This objectively refutes the state's assertion that because Ethan was found in Xana's bed, he was sleeping at the time of the attacks. This is the only way the state can provide any explanation as to why Ethan didn't fight the alleged intruder, who supposedly escaped the scene without a scratch or a drop of blood on his person, despite inflicting hundreds of vicious wounds on these poor kids in record timing. Nobody is peacefully sleeping with this amount of stimulants in their system, period. I want to know why Ethan ingested this much Adderall and where he got it from. There is also evidence that Ethan was potentially seeking out drugs on November 12th. In Josie Lauteran's interview with MPD, she told Sergeant Blaker that she received a text message from Ethan on the 12th asking for the Snapchat username of a redacted individual with the initials CG. Josie stated she didn't know why he was asking for this information, and as far as she knew, this wasn't someone Ethan had issues with. Josie didn't specify what time Ethan texted her, and there was no follow-up by Blaker. Go figure. But why would Ethan be asking for what I assume is another guy's Snapchat information, if not to score drugs? There is evidence of a Venmo transaction that occurred between Ethan Chapin and an individual named Jack Katovich at 11:40 p.m. on November 12th. And for those of you who don't know, Jack Katovich is the guy in the number 9 jersey seen at the grub truck at approximately 1:40 a.m. on the 13th. So, exactly 2 hours after making this transaction with Ethan, he's embracing Maddie at the grub truck. As such, he most likely had direct contact with all 4 victims in separate locations just prior to their demise, but he was never interviewed or considered a suspect.
Kaylee wasn't dancing with Murphy because she would have had to have had her phone on her to be dancing to music with Murphy. And Kaylee's phone was found in Maddie's bed. The whole house knew what was happening. If we can hear it, you can hear it. They can hear it. All of them knew what was happening and by who.
The female at 2:27 a.m. described the weapon she'd been attacked with. Yes, you heard that correctly. The female at 2:27 a.m. describes the weapon she'd been attacked with. First, let's go over the scream in question, which begins at 2:27 a.m. and 13 seconds. And there it is. He stabbed me. Oh my God, he stabbed me.
Now remember when Kaylee and Maddie are relentlessly calling Jack? Yeah, that was for help. Because them calling Jack D is at the same time that this audio takes place. And then Kaylee and Maddie call Jack D relentlessly, and then suddenly at the same time their phones go dark. Now they know who these people in this house are. Somebody says, "I thought you were my effing brother." Whether it was a perpetrator or Ethan, it doesn't matter. It shows they know each other. And Dylan knows them too, and Bethany does too. Kaylee and Maddie were calling for help. We hear a gut-wrenching scream at 2:27, which is exactly when Ethan's attacked. At 2:54, Kaylee and Maddie's phones go dark. Either that's when they were attacked as well, or their phones were taken. But in this audio, you can hear exactly when the crimes this night started, who they started with, and that everyone in the house knows who it was, which is why they were so comfortable doing this with all the lights on and also cleaning up. It's also why Dylan made up a story, because she knows who did it. And if she doesn't make up a story, she'll be next. This whole story was a lie. In my opinion, this audio tells us exactly when it started and that they knew exactly who this was. We hear somebody say, "I thought you were my fucking brother." Whether it was a perpetrator or a victim, either way, it proves they knew each other. And that's when everything popped off and the whole house had to have heard it. And everybody was probably scrambling and running or trying to get to a safe place. This is as close as we've been to a timeline, a real honest timeline. It's time for Dylan to tell the truth.
So this male becomes suspect male number 2. So Sherlock was created to find voices in hours and hours worth of speech. So you point out a voice and it stores it, and then it finds it later on in hours worth of audio. I thought we were brothers. What the fuck? But you could hear the female, listen closely, crying behind the male. And while this female is screaming, saying, "He stabbed me. Oh my God, he stabbed me," all the male keeps on saying is, "I thought we were fucking brothers." Listen to me.
So let's be very clear. This was not a random attack on a random house by a random incel at a random time. None of this was random. Everybody in that house knows exactly who did this. And the people who did this were extremely comfortable in this house. This was a long, drawn-out attack and cleanup. And they were very comfortable with all the lights being on while they attack their brother. Dylan knows.
Even when
Dylan
you feel low, you
knows.
can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.